if you have a Volkswagen, you have oil in it. And the last video we talked about zinc or whatever in the oil, there were a lot of comments and people were asking, well, what weight oil should I use? So before we get to that, let me answer some whys about that, okay? So thinner oil has lower viscosity. Viscosity is the measurement of the time it takes for oil to get through a tube. That's what viscosity is. So it takes less time for thinner oil to get through a tube. So 20 weight takes less time to get through a tube than 30 weight, okay? Got it? Got it, okay. So with oil, you want pressure, right? Because you want good oil pressure to be able to get through that, but you have to get through that tube. So you have to have good pressure on the one side and thin enough oil to get through that tube to get to your bearings. So if you were to use, say, like gear oil, like 85, 90 gear oil, right? It's really super thick, but it won't flow through that tube. You'll have really oil pressure through the roof, but it won't get to your bearings and you'll blow your engine up, right? So with that said, let's talk about how the oil cooler works, okay? So you have a plug in the bottom of your case, looks like that. Under that plug, you're taking it out, there's a spring in there and a piston, right, sits on top of that spring. When you have high oil pressure, right, this piston, the spring collapses, that piston goes down, it allows oil to shoot over to your bearings, okay? That's with high pressure. Now, high pressure is generally colder, right? Colder oil, colder climates, whatever, when your engine is not heated up to 200 degrees where you're running it at, right? So when it is heated up, right, you have less pressure because the oil gets thinner, so less pressure, it allows that piston to come back up, close that valve off, and get diverted to your oil cooler, okay? So that's how your oil cooler works. It's that spring right there. And that thing's, kind of heavy duty. So if you have too thick oil, you'll have too much pressure. It'll go to your bearings before it gets thin enough to get to your cooler. So too thick of oil, you'll run hotter because it'll never get to your cooler. Bingo, that makes a big difference, right? So also, if you think about it, these dudes who run these 30 millimeter or bigger, like 32 millimeter oil pumps, those big gears in that thing, they're creating a lot of pressure. What's it doing? It's collapsing that spring. It's allowing that oil to get to your bearings, but it's gonna run so hot because it never gets to your cooler. The same thing if you run one of these Chromie Homie springs, they're super high pressure, they're designed to get you to have more oil pressure. They're going to bypass your oil cooler. So it's really common for people to have too big a pump and they're running so hot because the oil pressure is not low enough to get to the cooler. That makes sense? So I just wanted to explain that today before we answer the other questions. So there you go.